Good morning, everyone. This is Lydia at Homespun Quilts and Yarn, and I thought I would show you today why a lot of us do not use our cutting mat lines when we're cutting our fabric. If you can, I'm going to line this long line that goes across the whole tape with the center of the line on my cutting mat. And then I stretch this tape out, and I'm pulling it pretty hard. When you look closely at this, you'll see that my number 3 line is just inside this line on my cutting mat. And the same with number 4, with 5, with 6, and 7, and so on. So these mats aren't totally accurate in their printed lines. So what most of us do is use our rulers, and I'm lining up this 1/2 inch line on the gold line here. You can see that it's still not perfect, but my lines, for the most part, are lined up. And this is where I started. So I can see on this is the actual 5 inch line. Either I've moved my ruler down here, so I trust my ruler lines more than I do these lines. So when I'm cutting, say I need a 2.5 inch strip, and I already know that this has a cut out of it on the bottom. So I'm going to use 2 rulers, and I want a 2.5 inch strip. Because of this little overlap right here, I'm going to make sure this line is lined up better. And for added insurance, my fold line is pretty straight, so I'm going to line up the top, which you can't see. There we go. That's better. Let me pull this down a little more. So this is my 1/4 inch line on the ruler. And now I've lined that up with the top. But now it's not even at the bottom. And let me see. Hang on here while I raise this somewhat. See if we can get it better. Well, that's a little better. Okay, can you see? Still can't see the whole thing, but the idea is that I've got this place at the top to line up that 1/4 inch line. And I want to make sure this line at the very bottom is touching the fabric. Then I grab my rotary cutter and make my cut. Now the reason I started on the fabric and backed off is it helps stabilize the fabric somehow by getting that little cut, and then I don't push the fabric by accident. And before I take my ruler away, I pull my fabric to make sure I don't have any little stray threads there. So now I have this strip. And I am just going to make sure, well, first, I'm going to make sure this is 2.5 inches. I'm going to line up all the way down. Okay, now I know for sure that my sides are straight, and this is 2.5 inches wide. Then I want to take my ruler and again find a straight line at the top, double check at the bottom, and snip off this little piece, and now I have 3 straight sides. Then I can go ahead with my ruler, line everything up. And it actually doesn't matter where you line up. The place you have the best visibility is a good place. So there's my first 2.5 inch square. You can also cheat a little bit more, because I know that 2.5 and 2.5 is 5. I can line up here and here. Cut this. Move down to 2.5. Double checking my lines again. There's that one. There's that one. I don't have room to do that again, so I will just check my lines. And this is an extra piece. For bigger pieces, like say I needed to cut a 4-inch square out of this. Now I know this line is straight. I'm going to line up this at the top, and would line up, leave that little flap. I'll cut that off in a minute. And I'm going to check this again. Okay, good. Backwards, go to the top. Pull this away. Now I know that is straight. This one I'm just going to flip over. Line up my lines. Shave that little bit off. So now I have a little bit of a flap here. I have to straighten this out before I cut my fabric anyway, so I'm going to go down to this end. This end is kind of a ragged edge. I'm going to line up my lines at the bottom, and they're lined up at the top. Cut this edge. Find my 4-inch. These are lined up. This is lined up. So there's one. Now you can also use 2 rulers. So maybe I'm a little bit nervous about cutting my edge here. So I'm going to go in. I know I'm deciding as I go here how to do this. And you may not be able to see this because this ruler. Okay, so this one, maybe my 12.5 inch ruler, I want a 15.5 inch strip. And my short ruler is not 15.5 inches. So I need to use this one first. Let's see if I can move this up a little bit. I want to make sure you can see this. Okay. So here's my 15.5, and I know that this edge is straight, so I can line up my line on that edge. And then way down here, which again we can't see. Let's go. Okay, I'm going to adjust the camera. Whoops. A little bit. Go like this. See if I can move this up a little bit. Okay, so it's not going to be right over my shoulder. So I'm going to pull this down again since I have some extra room. So I've lined up my ruler on that long edge. And now I can use this ruler to get my 15.5 inches. Keep that in place. Take my other ruler and slide it and butt it up together. Move that one away. and then make my cut. So there we go. Some ways to use 1 ruler and 2 rulers to get your cuts without using your cutting mat. Bye now.